What's going on, Lord of the Rings fans? We got another pretty decent sized bit of news here as Amazon confirms that it's working on a compelling new Lord of the Rings game, but its MMO is dead. This is from an article from IGN. Now, we all knew that with the massive layouts that happened from Amazon back in October, that the MMO was going to be dying. And that was something that nobody was really too surprised to be hearing about because New World was entering maintenance mode, and then they had done a ton of layoffs. And so it was affecting like 14,000 people, according to this article by IGN, as well as a report by Bloomberg. The layoffs included significant cuts to Amazon's video game operation, which reduced development work mainly in its Irvine and San Diego offices. And so we pretty much knew at that point that once those layoffs had happened, that the MMO was going to be dead. Now, however, this is not the end of what we are to be expecting from Amazon and Lord of the Rings. They had announced their MMO in 2023 that died, but at the same time, they are figuring out that they are going to be, quote unquote, exploiting the Lord of the Rings in a very significant fashion by turning it into one of the biggest video game franchises in the world. So this is going to be something where I think we're seeing I'm okay with the MMO dying, to be honest, because we already have Lord of the Rings online, and I think just having another Lord of the Rings MMO was just going to make the Lord of the Rings MMO experience very confusing. You would have people who would play Lord of the Rings online, you would have people who would play the other one, and you would have people who would play both. I'm not going to say there wasn't any overlap, but there would just be a lot of direct comparison and competition that would be there. And this is something that then sparked this discussion of why Amazon would try and create an MMO. I'm kind of glad, again, that they turned away from that so that way we can focus on other video games. Now, this is something as well to note. Warhouse is owned by Embracer. Embracer does own the rights to all of the Lord of the Rings movies as well as The Hobbit in 2022. So we're going to be anticipating that this probably could be a huge change. This is expecting to be a brand new era of Lord of the Rings games. Now, of course, I am always a very big skeptic when it does come to Lord of the Rings games, especially since we haven't, again, had the best luck with some of them recently. And I'm going to be anticipating something very strongly along the lines of Middle-earth: Shadow of War. That sort of being the big standard for Lord of the Rings RPGs at this point in time. Even though it's not a canonical story or anywhere within Tolkien's Legendarium, it is a completely its own original story, but it does do a phenomenal job at presenting a open-world Lord of the Rings game, of which we have actually yet to have seen before besides these games, which I think is a huge missed opportunity. It's why I spend a ton of time playing Lord of the Rings online. We've got a phenomenal game that's there that allows you to play through Tolkien's world in a video game sort of light, and now you have something like this where we could be seeing a brand new Lord of the Rings open world RPG. And I'm even been tempted to be picking up Kingdom Come Deliverance just because of them being known for having this massive RPG style game and it being just this incredible work. But at the same time, I am a little bit skeptic because of the fact that I am really wanting to have a good Lord of the Rings game. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what gets cooked up from this. We haven't gotten any development updates whatsoever, and this really is not a big moment of news, as we just know that the Lord of the Rings MMO was basically going to be dead anyways once 14,000 people had their jobs flipped around, whether they were affected by the layoffs or not. It's something that, honestly, you just kind of are like, it took them this long to really announce it. Like, that was a solid 7-8 months of time. So kind of surprising to see that take that long before they actually officially announced it. But then they went ahead and they finally did. So it'll be interesting, again, to see kind of what's going to be cooked up here. I think seeing more Lord of the Rings media come out recently with Rings of Power and this new Lord of the Rings game does provide some really interesting insight for what could be a brand new setup for Lord of the Rings media. And of course, me being who I am very excited because I always am excited to see more and more of Tolkien's world being brought out in different areas. But also, I am very nervous because Tolkien's world just holds such a deep, deep love in my heart. And this is something too where whenever I think about like what I want to see for a Lord of the Rings video game, I always look at Skyrim as kind of that ultimate example. You know, it's a game where once you get out of the prologue, the whole world is open for you. And it's something where for some people they might look at that and be intimidated, or maybe they don't want something like Skyrim, but I think that just genuinely is going to be one of the best avenues to explore Tolkien's world. Give people the ability to make Middle Earth their own world. And that is something that I'm really hoping to see. Whether it happens or not, that's beyond me. I'm not a game developer. I'm just a guy who consumes way too much Lord of the Rings content and are very excited to see what more can come out. And I genuinely think Lord of the Rings has a lot of unspoken potential when it comes to games. You know, outside of Middle Earth, Shadow of Mordor, and Shadow of War, the games that most people refer back to are that golden age of those EA games. And since there's a ton of licensing things that go off, we can already just dismiss the chance of any remakes happening for those games whatsoever. But I do think we have opportunities to bring new original stories into the games rather than just constantly rehashing what we've seen already in Peter Jackson's trilogy. So yeah, that's really all that there is. Not a lot for, honestly, this video. I know I've kind of turned into that Lord of the Rings gaming news guy and Rings of Power news guy, but hey, I'm just excited to see kind of more of what we're going to bring forward in Tolkien's world. So make sure you guys subscribe if you're not already, so that way you can be kept up to date with any and all new information that comes forward in the Lord of the Rings, in the world of movies and video games. So that's going to be it for this one. Thank you so much to all of my Ko-Fi supporters. You guys are the ones that help to make this channel as possible as it honestly could be. The best way to financially support is through Ko-Fi. So if you are interested, please do click the link down in the description below so that way you can support on Ko-Fi. This is the best way to help financially support the channel. And we will see you guys later. And as always, you are loved, you are valued, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And we will see you right back here in the next one.